It's my pleasure to introduce you to our MonCvONE-CR equipment, which is designed for visual function evaluation and particularly for clinical research. A few words about my company. This company is 30 years old, and we specialize in designing and manufacturing equipment for visual function evaluation. That includes vision psychophysics, visual field contrast sensitivity, dark adaptation, also vision electrophysiology, and eye movement recording and pupillometry. As a medical device company, we are ISO 13485 certified. We have distributors in quite a number of countries. And for these countries, we have certifications, for example, in Europe and with the FDA. I'm here to talk about clinical trials in gene therapy. I will not teach you that visual functions are major outcomes. What I would like to point out is that you typically need different techniques, depending on the age of your subjects, depending on the functions, rods or cones, depending on which layer of the retina you want to investigate or which local part is involved, you will need different techniques. This is why we have developed this equipment on one single platform, can perform standard automated static perimetry, manual, I would say Goldmann type perimetry, dark adapted chromatic perimetry, FST and dark adaptometry, pupillometry, and vision electrophysiology. In short, it does replace 4 instruments which are already available on the market, but all in one single platform. So that has a number of advantages in terms of resource optimization. First, space, you only need one room. Second, training of the staff. I mean, there is only one software with a lot of common functions, so you don't have to learn 4 different interfaces, for example. In terms of flow of patients, you don't have to move the patient from one room to the other, and the patient doesn't have to spend time waiting for the next technician to be available. In terms of data analysis, you have only one database and only one method to export data for statistical analysis. And also, I think it's also important, it can just do the standard clinical exams for perimetry as well as for electrophysiology. So after the clinical trial is over, you can still use the device for other applications. Now let's get into technical details. It's a full field projection perimeter with LED technology. It is a true full field. I'm showing here the limits of the normal subject, and the MonCvONE can reach those limits, which is not the case, for example, of the HFA3. As I mentioned before, we can do standard automated perimetry. It's pretty much the same as most of the company will do this kind of test. I'm just showing here a report, a classic report with the classic 2D map of sensitivity, the comparison with normal subjects, the global indexes, and I will talk about this later, which is maybe, in my opinion, important for clinical trials. We can do manual perimetry. I say Goldmann style because, in my opinion, Goldmann means essentially interactivity with the patient. It's just very similar to the Goldmann in terms of interface, but it has a number of plus. For example, it allows you to quantify the scotoma and isopters. Also, you can zoom in, zoom out any location in the visual field for more accurate evaluation. In addition to this, we have a large video monitoring for the subject. So that's suitable for difficult patients like children or people who do not cooperate so well. And another advantage is that the video can be recorded at the same time as everything what happens on the interface. Here I'm showing a test of visual field done on a young child using eye movements as a response to the presentation of peripheral stimuli. I know that doing this test by a technician can be considered as a bias, but the advantage here is that we can record everything and review the results, the video, as well as the movement of the stimulus to confirm what happened. Another feature is the range in terms of luminance. MonCvONE can operate from the scotopic up to the high photopic range. This is because of the LED technology, a unique feature because most of the parameters existing nowadays do only photopic or only scotopic. They cannot go over such a wide range, including the mesopic range. We can do FST tests with a Ganzfeld stimulus. You know the limits of the FST. The main limit is a global response. So we can also do dark adapted chromatic perimetry with red and blue or other colors. We have a choice of up to 5 user-defined dichroic filters. Those are very precise filters for testing different colors. We have also the possibility to edit the map of testing points. So this is one of the standard tests we use, but we can also define other arrangement of testing points, for example, a higher density of test points in the macula if you need to do so. We can do dark adaptometry. The equipment can bleach the eye for a given time and with a given luminance, and then record the recovery either on a single point with a white light or with different colors or with different locations. We can do chromatic pupillometry. I mean, using a Ganzfeld stimulus and recording the response to the flash with colors again. We can do flash electroretinography using the ISF standard. I would like also to point out some development we've made to improve the quality of those examinations. First of all, we developed a magnetic technology which allows us to use large size lenses for the correction of refraction and eliminate the lens rim artifact, and also to use a diffuser filter to avoid the blankout effect. Another important feature for reliability, all our equipment have an eye tracker, so we can record eye movement and pupil size throughout the entire exam and provide this kind of report at the end, including the surface area of fixation, the frequency of blinks, the pupil size and the fluctuation, and the horizontal and vertical deviation of the eye. This is an example on a child with a nystagmus. You can see here the visual field using Goldmann, here the recording of eye movement and its analysis. At the same time, you can get the video and eventually, if you are interested, replay the eye movement versus time to analyze the waveform of the nystagmus. To conclude my presentation, we have also this feature where we can import the eye fundus image or the OCT image. It can be even ultra-wide field. This can be done at the beginning of the exam, and you can run, for example, a Goldmann test on top of the eye fundus image, or you can do the comparison. I'm showing some examples here at the end of the exam. So if you are interested by this equipment and want more information, please contact either my distributor in the US, who is here, SR Division, or my office in France. Lille is in the north of France. Thank you so much for your attention.
Great, thank you for that, Jacques. Feel free to stop sharing your screen now. And I think keen to invite Abraham up onto the stage to see if there's any questions. I think given the presentation, there might well be questions that people would rather ask sort of more specifically to yourself. I think what is clear though is that clearly having this kind of platform approach is just super useful. So I don't know if you're there, Abraham, but if you're able to share your audio and video, that would be great. Abraham, yeah, so I think there's a couple of questions in that backstage chat, or you might have one or two of your own just before we move on to our next speaker.
Yeah. Thanks, Jacques. Nice to meet you by video here. So the question that has come through is one about whether the platform differs in terms of use, whether it's a pediatric patient or an adult patient.
The problem with pediatric population is it's so specific. It will be difficult to get the registration, for example, with FDA, and the market is small. So we kind of prefer to use the same platform and to make it suitable for testing such subjects. For example, having a large viewing field on the camera, allowing head movements. And of course, you can, if you can see the device on my back, you can get these headrests so that the child can still move.
Yeah, thank you. One other question that's come through is what kind of transferable challenges do you see with the companies you work with? What are their pain points?
Oh, that's a tricky question. The pain points.
Yeah.
First of all, we may not be as well known as the gold standards like Humphrey, for example. Pain points. I think that what is important is not only the instrument, is also the kind of support you can provide to your customers. And we claim we can provide good support. And also the flexibility of the instrument. Nowadays, companies making instruments have to, most of the big companies, they have to restrict the possibility of modifying the equipment. And for clinical trials, very frequently you need things which are not available on the standard